Don't speak to them. Don't speak to them at all. Don't let them in the house. They have no authority whatever. They can't demand you ask any questions. Tell your doctor, do not release my medical records. They've no right to see them. Do not tell your children, do not speak to strangers, especially if they're social workers, because they steal children. You've got to tell them the truth and deal with them like that. The only thing you should say to a social worker is this, and you should always say this very politely. I'm very sorry, because it costs nothing to apologise. I'm very, very sorry, but I have been advised not to speak to you. So there's the end of it. I'm awfully sorry about that. Otherwise, I'd love to invite you in. That is all you say. I promise you that's the best thing. And we were talking about civil rights a bit earlier, the previous speaker. I'd like to talk about the civil rights of the children they take. Because the worst thing that can happen to a child of 5, 6, 7 or 8, it's worse than babies. They arrive with uniformed police at 6 or 7 in the morning, which is their favourite time, and cart them off screaming for their parents as often as not. And the first thing that happens to them is they have their mobile phones confiscated, they have their laptops taken away, they are isolated completely from family and friends. And then when parents are allowed to go and see them, it's supervised. They mustn't talk about the case, they mustn't show too much emotion, they mustn't talk about coming home, and above all, they must not discuss any abuse they're suffering at the hands of the foster carers. I'd like you to, if you ever talk about this to social workers or other people, make the comparison between Peter Sutcliffe, Dr. Shipman, Mylene Hindley, all these serial killers and murderers. When they go to jail, they're allowed to phone out. They don't have their phones confiscated. Well, they have their mobile phones confiscated, but they're allowed to use the phone out to who they want, once a week at least.
She's still alive, by the way.
Is she?
She's not dead.
I thought she was. No,
she's not dead, and I know that from Panama.
Yeah. On top of that, when visitors come, they can discuss their case and discuss anything they like. So you've got the fact that children of 5, 6, 7, or 8 are treated worse than the very worst murderers in the country. And how can that be right? Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I think John Hurst, the gentleman who axed his landlady to death,
Yeah.
25 years ago, he's won a court case in the European Court of Rights to allow prisoners, rapists, murderers to have the vote. So they're laughing at as long as you can claim that you're a victim, then you are.
Mind you, I can't see many prisoners queuing up at the polling booth somehow. So, no.
He was cocking a salute at the British people.
Yeah.
And, showing that Cameron and the rest of them can do nothing. European.
But I think it's a terrible thing that the way these children are treated, than the worst murderers and serial killers. And the gagging orders, we're supposed to have free speech in this country. How can you have that if you have a gagging order? All right, if you say something, if I say that some of you ran down Piccadilly Circus stark naked singing God Save the Queen, you could sue me for libel, right? Or maybe you'd say it was a good thing, I don't know, but you're protected. There are laws for that already. And the Official Secrets Act protects people giving away our spies in Russia and places like that. You don't need a gagging order to stop people contacting their own children. Especially, even if somebody's convicted of an offence against children, well, I don't say they should be allowed face-to-face contact, but to ban people from sending emails or anything like that is pretty far-fetched. When you get people jailed who've never committed any crime against a child for waving at them in the street as they won't go past, as one man was jailed for, sending a birthday card, or like Vicky Haig, who I can name because she was named in Parliament, she was stopped from seeing her child, and she hadn't seen her for 2 years when a car drove up at a petrol station where she was doing some shopping, and in the car was the father and her daughter. She went over to say hello, and for that she was given a sentence in jail 3 years, not 3 days, 3 years, for speaking to her daughter. No one convicted her of any crime. What she had done was accuse the father sexual abuse of the daughter. Well, she didn't accuse it. The daughter accused him, went to the police, and the police said, "Do you believe her?" And the mother said, "Yes, that was her crime because he was an Olympic athlete, and there we are." Anyway, had more. But the point is not the rightness of the case, but of the fact that she was jailed for speaking to her. And then she was later jailed again because her new partner had 2 children, and they wanted to send a birthday card to this lady's daughter, to Vicky's daughter. And she said, "Well, I can't write anything. You can write what you like, and I'll give it to the vicar, and he'll pass it on." He didn't. He passed it to the police, and she was jailed for a day just to keep her a lesson. The card never even got sent, just for giving it to the vicar. So, oh, yes, yeah, I mean, these things happen. So then the answer is, I think I've shown a little bit of what's gone wrong and why it's gone wrong. So what can you do to put it right? Now, you know...
Can I say something here?
Yeah.
And it's for everybody to know this. Prisoners have every right. They have more rights than kids in care.
Oh, far more.
They get their contacts, they can write the storybooks for the kids, they can do phone calls, they get the contacts. What has a kid got? And he's not even committed a crime, that kid.
Yeah.
They've got no rights whatsoever. So what Ian is saying is